For more than a decade before 2019, I've been struggling with my bunions. The knobs on the medial aspect of my feet can only be accommodated by oversized shoes, which kept slipping off. I often had blisters, and on a few occasions I almost sprained my ankle. I had my bunion surgery done in January 2019. Recovery was rapid at first, but swelling was still on and off after 3 months. About 4 months post-op, my toes were beginning to feel less stiff. I decided to put my new feet to the test in August 2019. Standing at an altitude of 3,265 meters, Gunung Lawu straddles between Central and East Java. An extinct volcano, it is inhabited even above 3,000 meters. Raja Brawijaya, the last king of Majapahit, is believed to have retreated here after his capital was sacked by the Muslims. Many Hindu shrines and holy sites can still be found here. Near the foot of the mountain are enigmatic Hindu temples with explicit erotic themes. I'll cover that in another video. But why Lawu? Because it's rumoured to be the easiest 3,000-meter peak on the island of Java. On the 7th of August 2019, I flew to the city of Solo from Jakarta. The airport was a bit like the old Semarang airport. It was too small and too slow. I remarked on Facebook that I could sing the song Bengawan Solo 20 times and my luggage would still not be out. Not wasting any time, I boarded a taxi and headed straight for the town of Tawangmangu. Tawangmangu is situated at about 1,080 meters above sea level. For such a modest altitude, the temperature here can drop to 11 degrees C at night, much colder than places of comparable altitude in Malaysia. The hotel I booked was actually a resort that was a bit out of the way. The room here cost about $35 a night. I didn't need this level of luxury, but it was well worth it. There's really nothing much around the resort, but I managed to find a humble warung that served very cheap and satisfying nasi goreng. The next morning, after a sumptuous breakfast at the hotel, I walked to the market and chartered a mini bus to bring me to Candi Suku and then dropping off at Cemara Kandang, one of the base camps for Gunung Lawu. The cost of the charter was just $20. There are basically 3 routes up the mountain, one from Cemara Kandang, one from Cemara Sewu, and one from Candi Ceto on the other side of the mountain. The latter route is the longest. I decided to climb this peak from Cemara Kandang and descend to Candi Ceto. I organized this climb without any advance booking. I just sat down at the warung outside base camp and ordered a glass of tea. Then I told the ibu at the warung that I was looking for a guide to take me up the mountain. She picked up her mobile phone, made a few calls, and my guide showed up in half an hour. We discussed the route, the cost, and he went off to make preparations. After another hour or so, he came back with all the supplies and we're off after a few minutes of formalities. After less than an hour of climbing, we were at the first shelter, where there was a warung selling drinks and snacks. Post Dua, the second post, was a relatively open area with a couple of metal-walled huts. From here, it is possible to make a steep, rocky, slippery descent to a crater called Kawa Chandra di Muka. There is a fast-flowing hot spring and several sulfurous fumaroles here. You can check out this video shot by an Indonesian group. This challenging side trip should not be attempted by groups without safety equipment. After Post Dua, the second post, the trails steepened and the forest began to thin out. It was a hot and sweaty climb, but seeing that I was so gung-ho, my guide decided to take me off the beaten track for some vertical shortcuts. There was an unnumbered post beyond Post Dua, the second post. As for why it couldn't be named Post Tiga or third post, next one Post Empat, I have no idea. Then it was the actual Post Tiga, where the tree line was reached and we punched through a sea of clouds. There is a total of 5 posts on this trail, but it's not necessary to reach Post Lima or the 5th post before the summit. My guide suggested resting at Post Empat, which is inhabited, and then head direct to the summit from there at dawn the next day. It was an excellent suggestion. The views from Post Empat are better than those from Post Lima, which is also inhabited, and it's not that much further from the summit. I agreed to it. In spite of the altitude, it was a hot and sweaty climb to our night stop at Post Empat. A handful of huts built from recycled materials sat on a grassy plateau. As the sun set, cold began to creep in and the temperature plunged as the sun melted beautifully beneath the horizon. Before first light the next morning, we were up and making our way to the summit, bypassing Post Lima. Yay, you're reaching the summit! Sun is rising! Extremely windy over here. And the summit's just a stone's throw away. Mana? Sini. Okay. My guide just directed me to the shorter path. Oh, look at that cute little bird. Ah, there I can see the concrete monument. There it is, Puncak Lawu, Argo Dumila, 3265 meters. From the summit, we descended to Post Lima, or the fifth post, which was an even bigger settlement. There were 4 families living here, and the huts were better built than those of Post Empat, or the fourth post. Teh panas? Ya.
Makan apa?
Ada ya? Mie goreng instan?
Mie goreng ada, instan ada.
Ya. Mie goreng. Poor thing locked up like that. This was the abode of the legendary Mbok Yem, a woman who operates the highest permanently inhabited stall in Indonesia. At this altitude, the winds whip up a dust storm in the evenings, with temperatures often plunging below freezing. This place reminds me of what remote tea houses in Nepal were like more than 20 years ago. For reasons unknown, Mbok Yem accompanied her husband to live just 100 meters beneath the summit of Gunung Lawu in 1980. She was widowed some years ago, but she was never alone here, as there are 3 other families also living in this barren, hostile environment on a permanent basis. Right, inside the stall, it looks pretty much like tea houses in Nepal maybe 20 years ago, in some remote trekking route. There is a Hindu shrine here, and the inhabitants appear to be nominal Muslims who practice Hindu rituals. They descend from the mountain about 3 times a year. Mbok Yem herself usually descends during Adil Fitri to visit her relatives. The families obtain their water supply from a spring nearby, Sendang Derajat. Hindus and other believers consider this water to be holy. As Gunung Lawu is a popular mountain with college students and demand for food is high, supplies are often brought from traders who climb the mountain, bringing rice, noodles, vegetables, eggs, and bottled drinks. You might think that Mbok Yem would mark up the prices of her food to take advantage of a unique and strategic position. But no, a plate of rice with vegetable salad here costs only $1. After breakfast, we descended on the Candi Cheto trail. The first part was a rhododendron forest with furry clusters of grass spread out over a wide, gently sloping trail. Scattered among the shrubs were edible wild berries. They weren't too sweet, but definitely worth trying. We then entered a flat, rocky clearing with stone walls, obviously man-made, but not meant for humans. This is supposedly the haunted Pasar Dieng. Pasar means market. Locals believe that on Friday nights, all forms of supernatural beings will come shopping at this spot on the mountain. Coins are sometimes found strewn on the ground here, but they are thrown by frightened humans and not ghosts. From a ghost market, the trail descended below the tree line with vast fields of fine grasses and the occasional raspberry vine. The path slopes gently, funneling down with trees on both sides to a dry pond at Telaga Majangan. Then it's down to Post Lima, the fifth post on the Candi Cheto route, where there were numerous colourful tents occupied by climbers on that route. The path soon entered the forest and the incline steepened. It was almost noon when we left the alpine world above us and descended to be immersed in the warmth of the lowlands. Towards the end, I stumbled upon an exotic bathing pool and gateways similar to those in Bali. Before reaching the Candi Cheto starting point of the trek, we walked into the ruins of Candi Ketek. Not much restoration has been done here, but the step pyramid design of this temple was evident. A short walk away was Candi Cheto, another temple with a step pyramid design. I had successfully done a lintas, or crossover. Gunung Lawu houses the spirit or spirits of Majapahit in its final days, whatever the word spirit means to you. Compared to the crumbling Candi Ketek, Candi Cheto is a far better restored temple. Or were some of the parts actually reconstructed in an attempt to celebrate the glory of Majapahit? Like in Candi Suku, there is a strong erotic theme. I'll explain this in another video. We reported our arrival to the base camp at Cemara Kendang, and my guide managed to get me transport to my next destination, Semarang.